There's absolutely astonishing. Malgar Nalkar, when we met, it's so diversified, so wild, so just pure magic. It's beyond of beauty and beyond of uh, whatever we can imagine, right? You are so lucky living down there.
Thank, thank you, thank you. It is very, very, very beautiful. Especially what I like the most is the coast where we met to do the Bufo. That part of Ecuador is just amazing. There's a lot of beautiful people there too. A lot of therapies and medicines, and there's a big community there of conscious people, um, and it's like a community of love where you can just be yourself, and there's no judgment. There's just love, and it's beautiful to feel that way in a place where you can just be yourself. And yeah, if there's people that would like to connect with me, and you can share my Instagram. If there's people that would like to send me a message, and or there's people that they would like to clear some doubts that they have about not only Bufo but other medicines too. I help people uh, to decide what is the best option for them in this present moment, what they can do. If it's ayahuasca, if it's cambo, if it's bufo alvarius, if it's yopo, if it's mushroom, or first they need to access another therapy in order for them to feel more free to do a therapy like with a psychoactive medicine. So I also help people to decide what's the best option for them in the present moment. And yeah, they can contact me. I can I don't know if you can share later in the description,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
phone
we will
number
put the
and
links in the
the
description.
Instagram.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to
Yeah,
be
we will
better
put the link in the
that way.
description.
Yeah. hmm
And I got just
Yeah,
this
so
idea in my heart, which is so resonating with me. Same like we support the gift of heart. I just decided that we'll be placing a link to your work in every podcast and in the description because why
oh,
not?
thank you. Thank you, brother.
And I will also
That
try
would
to
be
mention
lovely.
as often as possible about your work because your work is so
Yeah.
beautiful, so pure, so
Thank you.
magical. I'm glad that I was able to help you reconnect with many people so far. And
Oh,
as I have
thank you.
mentioned
Thank you.
before, the outcome is just mind blowing. Is it a technology? Is it like you mentioned that a lot of people on this planet think that this is a technology or a molecule plant from another planet. Do you think that some kind of other civilization is trying to connect to know us through this molecule, this plant, this technology, and they send Buffo as some kind of a probe to find out how is life on Earth and what is the condition of human consciousness.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. I really think that we are conditioned by many, many things. Um, and I do believe that it is a technology too. I know it's natural. It comes from a toad, but still, for me, it is a technology because I see it that when it enters your system, your body, it reacts in a way that makes everything glow, like your cells, your in your head, your neurons. You can feel that happening within yourself, in your body, in every part of yourself. You feel that happening, and for me, it's a technology that it help us to upgrade our life here on Earth, without the conditions that we have in our environment. Because yes, you can be conditioned by your environment, but the condition is there because we allow that to affect us in a positive or in a negative way. So this technology, when it enters your body and it helps you reprogram your mind, your habits, your way of thought, your way of thinking, and your system, the way you feel about things from the past, the way you think about your present moment, about yourself, about your family and friends, everything changes in a way that you feel more compassion and more presence and more love for yourself, and then you can reflect that to others too. There's
Mm,
and
that's yeah.
I
I
love
love that.
when there's people that they mention, oh look, I was having problems with my work, and then I stopped hating my job and my boss. I stopped hating people, and everything changed because I started to love again my life, again what I have created for myself in this life. And when you do that, when you accept who you are and what you do, the way that you think, things changes inside, and as inside then it happens outside too. And people notice when you are smiling, when you're feeling different, when you are in this
Mm,
high frequency, people notice and they want some of that too. And they notice. I don't know if that happened to you, but you start glowing again. Part of you, your mind, your body, it starts glowing again. For some people, it takes a couple of times. For some other people, it may take 5 times or 6 times, and they do it in 2 months. They do several times, and then they feel free from that. And as you just said, Iboga is like separation, is this dissociation from the reality and what the mind think your reality is. There's
mm,
people that get to have visions with Iboga, but it's not always like that. You don't always have vision, but uh, you feel separated from the life that you think you have, and the thoughts that you identify with. So let's say with an addiction that a person has, first you have to separate yourself from that addiction. So if you separate from that, you're not going to identify with the alcohol or a drug or a substance. You're not going to identify with that because you see it outside of yourself. And for example, with Iboga, you can see that as an entity that is coming out of you, and you see, oh, this identity is the addiction. This
mm.
identity is the
That's super
sadness
really interesting.
from lose. Yeah, this is the this entity is the sadness from uh, my father, when my father left when I was a kid. This
Mm,
entity is this from my past. So when you separate from that, you see that, oh, this is not who I am. This is something that I have with me, but when I'm separated from that, I feel good. I don't feel like I need to keep remembering this situation with sadness of or anger or disappointment. I just feel like, oh, this I had this, um, is not something that is natural within me, so I choose to stay like this. I choose to stay in this form without this entity that was part of my life, or sometimes years. You have some entities. Um, but you separate from that in order for you to remember who you are. And that's what I consider that happens in Iboga. With Bufo, you condense all that within yourself and you feel the eternity there. But with Iboga is, look, this is affecting you. You separate from that. This is what has been affecting you, and not only you. In my case, I remember that I I I connected with an emotion that wasn't mine, that was attached to sadness from my grandmother. She's not here on earth anymore, but she had the same pattern, the same um, sadness, the same melancholic way of seeing the world and the same perspective about life. And I was able to be aware of that, like, oh, I've been carrying with this pattern that hasn't allowed me to truly be myself just because I was loyal to this energy that I thought it was me. But when you separate from that, you get to do that work.
At the end, I would like to ask you: do you remember what was the core message from Iboga, and also how do you see the future of shamanism slash human relation with those saint plants, those powerful medicines?
So I do remember that with Iboga, there was a part of me that wanted to die.
That's interesting.
I had these thoughts that I didn't want to live anymore. But it wasn't like I wanted to take my life. It's just that I wanted to be myself again, and I wanted that past to die because it wasn't serving my body and my mind anymore. Instead of serving me as a tool, it was affecting me with fears, with insecurities, with with doubts about myself. So instead of making me feel better and stronger, it was the opposite. It was doing the opposite. So
Do you think it was a test for
I
your endurance, something like this, or
yeah,
how do
yeah.
you
You
interpret that?
don't feel you feel well. I felt in that moment crazy, like I was getting crazy, but it was
Mm,
only because that was in me. That what was being released from me. I felt crazy because imagine that energy, let's say, I wasn't feeling worthy of myself in that moment. So that energy was with me for years, for many years. I don't know, maybe 15 years. So imagine that energy has been with you for 15 years, for a very long time, and you separate from that. A part of you is going to go like, wow, what is happening? Because you have been used to that
yeah, I can
energy
imagine
for
that. Yeah.
15 years. Yeah, and it's difficult for the mind to accept. It's difficult for the mind to imagine a different life without that energy, without that entity that has been with you for many years. So that part, I remember that I felt like I was getting crazy, because part of me wasn't attached to that past anymore, and I needed to adapt to this present moment, the truth that I was being aware of in my process and all that light. I needed to be aware of that and allow that to be in myself, without the fears and the other things that I was releasing in that moment. So that was challenging. That was very challenging.
They were like, just, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, like it exceeded my expectations way
Mm.
beyond of everything I was thinking about life. And I remember some of those experiences in those people were very challenging, but after it happened and when they integrated within them, the wisdom and the understanding came.
Yeah.
And do you also help people integrate those experiences? I mean, you help me a lot because we stay in touch, but
Mhm.
that integration process it could be probably even more important than the experience itself. Like, would you agree with that?
It is. It is because if you don't have the integration, if you don't do your work after the experience with the medicine, you are only going to remember the experience that once you had with Bufo values, but if someone is going to ask you, and what happened, what changed after that? But if you don't have the integration, you're not going to be able to use the tools that um, you encounter in this experience with Bufo bodies. You're not going to be able to use the tools, and those tools you can do it every day. You can use them every day until they feel natural within yourself. Um, there's people that I helped a woman that she did Bufo many years ago, and she didn't have integration. And I I was talking with her like for 6 months, and after I met her, and after 6 months, she was able to see the results of Bufo. Um, and there's people that with good integration, that's why I do I talk with the people before the process, before the bufo. We do the medicine and then we talk again to have a closure. And then that week after the process, I ask them, how do you feel? How's your day? How have you felt any emotion uh, that is being released in this moment or in these days? And I ask them because it's very important for them to be more aware of the way they feel and the way they think. If they are not aware, that experience is just going to stay there, like floating around, trying to ground and trying to be used by you. But if you don't use it, and unfortunately, this is there's not going to be a real change in your life. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I believe that there's a lot of people awakening to heal the world. And before, when we used to live in communities, in communion with other people, not in these big cities and uh, with all these big businesses, and when everything was more natural, and there was a lot of healers, a lot of healers. Each community had a healer before, and then came uh, the doctors, and then came the titles, the certificates that only allow these people with this new system to help other people to cure, to heal only the body, but not the mind, not the emotions, not the integrity of the person. And I I know that before it was like that. We used to have a lot of healers, and that consciousness is awakening again because we need it. And I don't know if you know the one of the meanings of shaman is the one who heal himself or herself. So shaman is us, the ones that allow the healing energy to take place in our lives. So there are going to be more shamans, and there are going to be more
Yeah, I
healers.
see that on daily
There,
basis.
yeah, you see, is growing, and the only thing that I tell people is that try to be aware of scammers, because I know there's people that they do it with a lot of love, and there's other people that they are just there because they see this path as a business. That is not something bad, but is better to keep yourself focused on what really matters. That is not just the business and the money that you receive from this, but also how you balance the world by helping another person being the best version of himself or herself. That is going to give you a greater feeling. And I know that there's people that they want to do it, they want to do the medicines, they want to do the therapies, and because they are not feeling well, and the first person that comes into their path and they do it and they don't have a good experience and they don't want to do it again. But there's a lot of good people here on earth that they have good hearts. So for the people that haven't had this good experience with healers, I encourage each of you to open your heart and open your mind and to find another person, to find or even a community that serves the medicine. But there are very good people, beautiful people here on earth, open to help you. So just be open.